Beautiful souls. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. And today we are going to go into a very, very deep topic. So, before that, I'm just going to quickly do a mic test to see whether I'm being heard. Because with this new mic, I realized that sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So, let me just check that and I'll delve right in. Oops. And I'll delve right in. Okay, perfect. So it's working, it's working. All right, so a warm welcome to all the new subscribers and for all of you who have been here with me since the start. I only started uploading these videos in 2023 because for the sake of a playlist, because a lot of my lives I did it on my Facebook group, and so I'm really amazed at how much this community has grown ever since, because I had no intention of releasing these videos in the public domain. But however, I just had this thought. If anything happens to me, at least my videos will live on. So that's the reason why, since 2023, I started doing videos since 2021. So that's why I've got a lot of videos. Again, a lot of videos. All right, with that, recently the community has been growing bigger. So, a warm welcome to all the new members, new viewers, new subscribers. With that, today, again, this is a topic recommended by one of you guys, and this is a deep teaching. So, I might break it up. I think I might break it up into two parts. So we'll see how it goes, because some of you guys prefer shorter videos, less than 20 minutes. Some of you prefer the longer discourses. So, yeah, so, again, I'm trying to accommodate to everyone. Again, with the mic as well. Some of you prefer the old mic, some of you prefer the new mic. So, really, like I said, may the universe guide me. With that, we are going to be diving into a subject that is one of the most asked about and also one of the most misunderstood when it comes to the twin flame journey, and especially the monadic twin flame journey path. That subject is reunion windows. Now, I want to clarify something up front. A reunion window is not just a date on the calendar when your divine masculine suddenly comes back, knocks on your door, and says, I'm ready. A reunion window is a multi layered convergence of astrological timing, karmic cycles, and monadic pull via the third energy. So, what we are going to do in this teaching is unpack exactly how karmic nodes, eclipses, and retrogrades open these windows, and why the monadic feel keeps drawing you back together again and again, even when it looks impossible in the 3D, in the third dimension, in the third density. So, what are reunion windows? Reunion windows are periods of intensified energetic pressure on both you and your divine masculine. So, in other words, it is a period of intensified energetic pressure on our beloved divine masculines, and we too experience this a lot. So, you can think of these periods like cosmic weather storms. They create friction, magnetic pull, and psychological shifts. They don't guarantee physical reunion, but they dramatically increase the likelihood of breakthroughs, inner awakenings, psychic contact, or sudden physical encounters. In the monadic twin flame journey, reunion windows are coded in. Why? Because you didn't meet your divine masculine just by chance. The split happened at the 13D monadic level. That means the timing of when you re-encounter each other in Earth's dimension is already interwoven into planetary cycles. So when people ask, why do I keep dreaming of him during eclipses? Why does he resurface every Venus retrograde? Why does my entire body collapse during nodal shifts? The answer is you're inside a reunion window. Let's begin with karmic nodes, the north node and the south node of the moon. The south node represents karmic residue, the old contracts, the past life partners, and the familiar comfort zones. The north node is your evolutionary compass, the direction your soul must grow toward in this lifetime. When the nodes make strong contacts in your chart or in the opposite chart of you and your divine masculine, they ignite reunion pressure. So that's why sometimes, even if you feel like you want to not think about your divine masculine, but during like a Venus retrograde or present Saturn retrograde, Neptune retrograde, you feel your divine masculine more and more. So that's why the south node transits often bring karmic partners or resurfacing wounds. So this is when your divine masculine may appear to choose someone else, not because he doesn't feel you, but because the south node is pulling him into unfinished karma. So north node transits are like cosmic magnets. They force our divine masculine, sometimes against his will, to face the higher path, which always includes union energy with you. So, example, many twin flames experience sudden breakthroughs when transiting north node, conjunctions on our divine masculine sun, moon, or Venus. Why? Because destiny is literally ringing the doorbell. So now let's talk about eclipses. We just had a major one recently, the blood moon eclipse. Eclipses are not ordinary full moons or new moons. They are cosmic resets that realign soul contracts. A solar eclipse wipes away false ego identities. If your masculine has been pretending he doesn't care, or he has been hiding behind career masks or toxic friends, or just, you know, a solar eclipse will strip that away. He may feel disoriented, lost, or even lash out, but behind the scenes, his mask is crumbling. A lunar eclipse brings up buried emotions. This is when he feels the longing, the grief, the regret. Even if he doesn't say it, the lunar eclipse pulls his subconscious into the light. So, right now, we're in the middle of two major eclipses. You see what's going on now, right? So, why? So, why do so many of us divine feminines dream of our divine masculines during eclipses? Because the 0 point field becomes hyperactive. The veil between you thins. Our divine masculine feels us, and we feel him, and the soul contract memory gets triggered. Eclipses are basically Monadic twin flame alarms. They go off to remind the soul you can't outrun what you are coded for. So retrogrades are another huge factor in reunion windows. That's what I always talk about, the retrogrades, right? And most people misunderstand them. Retrogrades are not cosmic punishments, they are reversal currents that force integration. And that's why I love the retrograde periods. Like people always say Mercury retrograde, but actually Mercury retrograde is when deep resets happen, like communication breakdowns, ghosting, and misunderstandings in 3D, but surges of 5D communication. Third energy field spikes, dreams intensify, words may fail, but the monadic signal gets stronger. So let's take Venus retrograde. This is like love karma review. This is when a lot of twin flames get into stable union, because this is the classic time when Everything surfaces. Karmic partners collapse, or the masculine suddenly contacts you after years because the heart cycle has to reset. Mars retrograde. Action gets delayed, but suppressed desire bubbles up. Divine masculine's energy gets frustrated, restless, unable to bury attraction. And Saturn retrograde, I keep talking about this, about karmic accountability. Contracts dissolve, karmic debts resurface, and responsibility around union can no longer be avoided. And then Pluto retrograde, the deep purge. This is when all the unspoken shame, wounds related to the sacral chakra and the fears of intimacy explode. Painful, but absolutely necessary. So, when multiple retrogrades overlap with eclipses or nodal shifts, you can see explosive reunion windows, and that's why I'm saying there's a reunion window happening right now. The divine masculine may not stay, but the field is forced into contact. So that's why miraculous union periods often happen during a cosmic alignment like this. So here's the deeper layer. The monadic pool is timeless gravity. It doesn't need astrology to exist, but astrology shows when that pool pierces through 3D linear time. That's why you feel sudden waves of him coming closer, even after years of silence. That's why dreams intensify when there is no logical reason. That's why karmic partners suddenly collapse during retrogrades, because the monadic field never switches off. It only surges stronger when planetary currents align with your original cosmic blueprint. So, how do you know you're inside a reunion window? The dreams surge, often romantic, often intimate, or emotionally charged. Synchronicities multiply. Numbers, songs, or even you would see your divine masculine's name everywhere. Number 3, sudden karmic collapses. Jobs ending, karmic relationships breaking down. Number 4, emotional collapses. Divine feminines feeling drained, crying, or overwhelmed. And number 5, unexpected contact. He might surface in the subtle ways, like liking a post or just sending you a message or contacting a mutual connection, or literally if he's your family friend or if he knows your family, trying to test the fields, by looking at the family members Facebook or social media he may be still connected to. Suddenly he might be trying to get information, that will. So this is how. Another thing, appearing in your area or sending a random text. So this is field testing, right? All these are signals that the monadic field is opening a door. Now, a critical point: not every reunion window ends in physical union. If the karmic cycle is still running, he may collapse back into it. If, as the divine feminines, we haven't stabilized our nervous system, we may project, chase, or collapse into despair, which destabilizes the field. Some of you guys, divine feminines, would write to me saying that I just overreacted when he sent a message. So you are reacting, not responding. So that's why some windows don't lead to physical union. So if both are still carrying unresolved ancestral imprints, family imprints, the window may open but then close again. But here's the truth: every window matters, even if it ends in silence again. The field has shifted, a new thread is woven, and the next window builds on the last. So, how can you work with these cosmic timings? You can track your astrology, especially eclipses, retrogrades, and nodal transits. Hold your frequency, don't chase 3D outcomes, anchor in 0 point. Number 3, witness karmic collapses without attachment. If his karmic partner leaves, don't rush in, let him face the void. Number 4, stay embodied. The monadic field can anchor into a dysregulated vessel because our body is the temple of union. So that's why reunion windows are not random. They are the cosmos way of keeping the monadic promise alive. Each collapse, there's a reason for it. That's why each eclipse, each retrograde, each nodal shift is a door cracking open. Our divine masculine may resist, but resistance is temporary. The pull is eternal because at the end of the day, union is not a date on the calendar. Union is a frequency. Astrology just shows you when the doorway swings open. The question is, will you both step through? So, I wanted to, go deeper, right? One of the biggest traps I see, that's why I wanted to do a part 2 on this in this same discourse. One of the biggest traps I see is that many divine feminines fall into this thinking. He ghosted me on his own choice. He texted me back randomly. He came back at the most random time. No, on the Monadic Twin Flame path, nothing is random. The timing of his withdrawal, his resurfacing, your dreams of him, and even the karmic obstacles are all of it is synced with cosmic currents. When he randomly unblocks you during a Venus retrograde, it's because the field of love is being rewired. When you suddenly bump into him near your workplace during an eclipse window, it's because your soul contract coded the intersection. When he collapses into shame during a Saturn retrograde, it's not punishment, it's accountability aligning with the karmic clock. So when you begin to see these random events as timed reunion windows, you stop collapsing into despair. You start seeing the bigger architecture. This is where psychology meets astrology. Reunion windows don't just happen out there in the stars, they also happen in here, in your nervous system. So when a window opens, the divine masculine's system often flips into fight or flight. He feels the pull, but it terrifies him. His body tells him this is too much, too fast, too dangerous, so he may run, shut down, or lash out. As for us, the divine feminines, our system often collapses. We feel the surge of union energy and we interpret his silence or rejection as abandonment. Our body tells us, I'm losing him again, I'm not safe. This is why both you and your divine masculine experience these kind of symptoms during reunion windows. Insomnia, either you're oversleeping or you're undersleeping, heart palpitations, intimacy surges, unexplained tears or rage, dreams so vivid that they feel almost real because it is real. Remember, our body is an antenna. The astrology activates the monadic signal and our nervous system picks it up. And have you noticed, right? Here's another layer that many avoid talking about: karmic partners. If the divine masculine is still with a karmic NPC, you may think that's proof you will never reunite. But actually, karmic relationships intensify during reunion windows because they are meant to collapse under the monadic pressure. During nodal shifts, karmics often feel threatened, jealous, or insecure without knowing why. During eclipses, karmic bonds may fracture suddenly, sometimes overnight. During Venus retrograde, karmic illusions dissolve, and the masculine, our divine masculine, realizes he cannot find the same frequency elsewhere. Karmic entanglements are not blocks, they are timed release valves. They appear and disappear to align him with you at the right window. So, not every union window is the big one. So, listen to this part very carefully. Hear me out very, very carefully, all right? This is something that I always tell my clients. Some windows are trial runs. Our divine masculine may message you briefly, resurface in a dream, or appear in your physical space, then disappears again. Painful? Yes, of course it is. But it means the field is warming up. Older windows are initiatory collapses, where everything falls apart for both of you so you can rebuild on truth. And eventually, this is the actual return window, the one where karmic contracts have dissolved, nervous systems have stabilized, and the monadic pool has aligned with free will. The key is you cannot force which window it is. Your role is to hold the field steady so that when the bigger window comes, you're ready. Now, let me say this clearly. Astrology can show windows, not certainties. That's why astrology can't guarantee dates, all right? Because at the monadic level, both souls still hold free will. The divine masculine can resist a north node activation for years if his fear outweighs his readiness. As for the divine feminines, we can sabotage a Venus retrograde reunion by chasing or projecting. Astrology shows when the cosmic door is open. It cannot force either of you to walk through it. That's why union work is not about prediction, but about preparation. If you chase dates, you collapse. If you chase field stability, you align. So, what is your role as the divine feminine when the windows open? Number one, anchor 0 point. Our nervous system is the stabilizer. If you collapse, the field destabilizes. Number two, witness, forcing. Notice the signs, the dreams, the synchronicities, but don't push 5D proof. Number three, heal your karmic nodes. All right? Heal your karmic nodes. If your family, career, or inner child is being triggered, work on those because your healing is the field's healing. Number four, stay in embodiment. Do not escape into fantasy. Keep grounding, eating well, and resting. Our body is a temple that receives the monadic surge. So, reunion windows are not random, they are coded. They impact our astrology, our psychology, our nervous system, and our external life. Some will feel like false alerts, some will feel like heartbreak, but all of them are steps towards the inevitable convergence because remember, union is not a single date, it is a frequency, and the windows are not just cosmic reminders of what is already written in the monadic field. So, I wanted to elaborate further on astrology and timing in the monadic path, specific transits and planetary combinations that open reunion windows. So we have established that reunion windows are not random. They are coded through nodes, eclipses, and retrogrades. But on the practical level, how do we read the specific transits that indicate a reunion surge? This is where we look at your chart, We look at our divine masculine's chart. When transits hit sensitive points, especially the Sun, Moon, Venus, Mars, the nodes, or the Descendant, you will feel the monadic pull magnify. So let's break down some of the most powerful triggers. So, example, Venus retrograde in the 7th house. One of the strongest reunion windows is Venus retrograde transiting yours or his 7th house of partnerships. If it's on his 7th house, he can no longer deny the karmic review of his relationship. Old lovers may surface, karmic partners may collapse, but most importantly, you flood back into his awareness. If it's on your 7th house, you may feel pulled back into heartbreak wounds, but the purpose is to align you with your true counterpart rather than karmic attachments. So Venus retrograde is when many divine masculines break silence, not always to stay but to test the waters. Sometimes it can also end up in stable union. All right. So when Saturn transits yours or his natal moon, emotions can get heavy. For the divine masculine, this often means he feels the weight of his avoidance. For the divine feminine, it often means we feel abandoned. But Saturn on the moon is actually a union builder. It strips away illusions about love and forces both you and your divine counterpart to confront the emotional reality of the bond. So, yes, it can feel cold. Yes, it can trigger depression. But it sets the stage for deeper emotional accountability, something no karmic bond can withstand. All right. Just a moment. I just got a call. Let me. All right, let me just check. I hope like the call didn't disrupt my recording. So let me go see. Right. Okay, perfect. Okay. So where was I? So as I was saying, Saturn transits, when Saturn transits yours or his natal moon, emotions get heavy. And for the masculine, this often means he feels the weight of his avoidance. As for the feminines, it often feels we abandoned, right? So that's why Saturn on the moon, like I was mentioning earlier, is a union builder. It can act as it strips away the illusions, but also it gets you and your DM to confront the emotional reality of the bond. So that's why sometimes it can feel cold. It can trigger like the dark night of the soul, depression, but it sets the stage for deeper emotional accountability, something no karmic bond can withstand. That's why I wanted to emphasize on it further. So that's why Saturn transits, especially in yours or his natal moon, can play a huge role, all right? So eclipses on the sun, when the sun or lunar eclipse lands on the sun, expect the unexpected. The sun is the sole purpose of the relationship. An eclipse here can manifest as sudden encounters, shocking messages, or even explosive separations that force the truth to the surface. This is when many of us twin flames, we bump into our DM by accident, but really it's the monadic contract forcing a reset. So, nodal return and reversal. Every 18, 19 years, you experience a nodal return when the transitioning nodes return to where they were at birth. So, for monadic twin flames, nodal return often align with major reunion pool. So if you and your divine masculine nodal returns overlap within a year or two, the gravitational pull is immense. So equally powerful is the nodal reversal. When transitioning nodes oppose your natal nodes, this creates a crisis point. You cannot keep running from your destiny. So Pluto is the planet of transformation, death, and rebirth. When Pluto transits his Venus or Mars, it brings obsessive longing, magnetism, intimacy, magnetism, and the collapse of superficial relationships. He may resist, but he cannot escape the magnetic. He cannot escape the magnetic obsession. When Pluto transits your Venus or Mars, you may feel consumed by desire or grief. This is a purge of all false attachments. So that union energy can flow without distortion. Pluto transits are some of the most painful reunion windows, but also the most permanent in their changes. So that's why, pay attention to Pluto. Then Uranus. So finally, Uranus transitioning the Descendant, the seventh house cusp of relationship, is a classic shock reunion transit. Uranus brings the unexpected. Our divine masculine may suddenly contact you after years, appear in your city, or make a spontaneous confession. But Uranus also brings instability. He may run again just as quickly. So still these exist. So still these transits serve a purpose. They crack the karmic timeline and remind both you and your divine masculine that the bond is alive. So what's the key? Is not one single transit, but the layering. A Venus retrograde overlapping with a Pluto transit on his Venus can trigger both desire and karmic collapse. A Saturn moon transit during an eclipse on your sun can trigger emotional accountability alongside a sudden encounter. A nodal shift combined with Uranus on the Descendant can lead to a shocking karmic endings and unexpected meetings. The more layers align, the more stronger the reunion windows. So here's the truth. Reunion windows are written in your charts, not as rigid fates, but as cosmic invitations. So when you see Venus retrograde approaching or an eclipse hitting your chart, don't panic, prepare. When you notice Saturn sitting on the moon, don't despair, trust that his emotional accountability is being built. When Pluto stirs obsession, don't collapse, anchor your 0 point, because these aren't punishments, they are recalibrations, and every one of them brings you closer to the inevitable convergence. So again, I realized 30 minutes, so I will do a part 2 on this, because I wanted to talk about real life timing examples and collective patterns. Actually, maybe I'll do this one more part, all right, before I wrap. So this might be a long discourse, so many of you guys, only if you want to stay, do stay. So again, when we look at reunion windows, it's not about your personal chart or his. Twin flames are also influenced by the collective cosmic weather. Major eclipses, planetary conjunctions, and nodal shifts impact millions of souls. But for us monadic twin flames, these moments are like amplifiers. They heighten the monadic pool, stir karmic collapses, and open unexpected doors. So let's look at real life examples of how these union windows have played out in recent years and what's coming. So let me bring you back to 2020. 2020 was massive for twin flames. The Cancer Capricorn eclipses hit the axis of family, karma, and responsibilities. So many divine masculines were forced to confront family obligations, traditions, and parental expectations. At the same time, as divine feminines, we will pull deeper into our emotional sovereignty. So this cycle triggered countless separations, but also many first recognitions. So that's why 2020 was a time when many of us met our divine masculines, right? So for those of you who have met your twin in 2020, that wasn't coincidence. You met during a collective reunion window coded into the Cancer Capricorn karmic axis. So Venus retrograde in Gemini. So May to June 2020, another huge collective window was Venus retrograde in Gemini. May to June 2020, Gemini rules communication. This retrograde forced many divine masculines to confront the truth of their feelings, even if they spoke it clumsily, harshly, or defensively. So for many divine feminines, this period brought rejections or mixed signals. But beneath that, the karmic communication blueprint was being written. So literally, for some of you during May and June 2020, you may have faced the first rejection. You might have said not interested, or you might have, tried to see. That's why so many of you experienced those I'm not interested moments in mid 2020. It wasn't rejection, it was Venus retrograde trigger, a forced clearing of illusions so the deeper connection could anchor. So 2021 brought the Saturn Uranus square. Active most of the year, Saturn demanded karmic accountability. Uranus shook up relationships and freedom codes. This was the year many of us twin flames either reunited briefly or exploded apart. Why? Saturn and Uranus created a tension between commitment and freedom. For divine masculines, this meant panic. For divine feminines, it meant learning to anchor without chasing. The Saturn Uranus square was a reunion window that tested the nervous system of the entire Twin Flame collective. Then came the Venus retrograde in Capricorn, December 2021 to January 2022. This was a karmic love reset in the sign of responsibility and long term structure. Many divine masculines resurface during this time, even after years of silence. For others, karmic partners crumble, the illusions of stability cracked. So, this Venus retrograde, there were a lot of unions happening. So, Venus retrograde in Capricorn basically asks, can you build this love for real, or are you still playing small? So, fast forward, Venus retrograde in Leo, July, September 2023. Leo rules heart, courage, and visibility. This retrograde forced many twin flames to confront ego versus authentic love. Divine masculines who had been hiding suddenly felt exposed. Divine feminines were asked to raw their truth, not as chasing but as sovereign embodiment. So, for many, this was when karmic partners were tested and found hollow. A collective reunion window cracked open, even if it didn't fully anchor in 3D. So, Pluto in Aquarius, March 2023 onwards. Pluto dipping into Aquarius in 2023 began a 20-year collective cycle. Aquarius rules networks, soul groups, and cosmic mission. Pluto brings transformation and obsession. This is why, since 2023, so many twin flames have felt an unbearable magnetic pull. The monadic field is now rewiring collective templates of love and technologies. No accident that many divine masculines with technological engineering callings feel activated during this transit. So that's why some of our divine masculines, creating apps or, really exploring. So Pluto in Aquarius is long reunion cycle. It will keep forcing twin flames into contact, not just for romance but for mission. So what's coming? Saturn Neptune in Aries 2025 to 2026. So let's talk about the future. The Saturn Neptune conjunction in Aries 2025 to 2026 is going to be one of the biggest collective reunion portals in decades. Saturn represents structure, karmic accountability, and reality. Neptune represents dreams, illusions, and higher love. Aries represents initiation and new beginnings. When Saturn and Neptune merge in Aries, twin flames will be pushed to turn dreams into realities. Illusion of separation will collapse. Many divine masculines will no longer be able to hide behind denial. This will be a massive collective reunion window, not just for individual pairs, but the monadic field itself. So here's what these examples show us. The 2020 eclipses burst recognition and collapse. The Venus retrogrades forced karmic resets. The Saturn Uranus square tested nervous systems. Pluto in Aquarius initiated the long haul transformation. And Saturn in Aries will bring the dream into form. So each of these is not random. They are collective reunion windows coded into the cosmic blueprint designed to accelerate the monadic convergence. Which means our personal journey is not isolated. We are part of a cosmic wave, and when the wave rises, the monadic field pulls you closer, whether you're ready or not. So with that, finally I will do why personal mapping matters. So up to now we talked about the collective astrology, but reunion windows are not one size fits all. Each monadic pair has a unique blueprint written into your natal chart, his natal chart, and the chart of your union. Mapping reunion windows means identifying when transit, eclipses, and retrogrades activate these sensitive points. When they do, the field will surge. But again, don't be too carried away. Only in higher dimensional astrology, which is got to use your clairvoyance. That's how I, look at astrology. Higher dimensional astrology is very rare. It goes beyond 5D. So often when you look at the charts or when you look at the signs, you get intuitive wisdom from cosmic consciousness. So Step 1, start with the nodes. The karmic nodes are your soul GPS. Find where the north node and south node fall in both your charts. Pay attention when transitioning nodes, conjunction, opposition, or square these placements. Example, if your north node is in Aries and his south node is in Libra, when the transitioning nodes hit Aries Libra, you'll feel massive reunion pressure. Composite node contacts are even stronger. That's when both your karmic timelines converge. Step 2, track eclipses. Next, look at where eclipses fall by sign and degrees. If an eclipse falls within 2 to 3 degrees of your sun, moon, Venus, or Mars, expect major activation. If an eclipse hits its angles, ascendant, descendant, IC, MC, you may experience sudden collapses or breakthroughs. If an eclipse touches your composite, sun or moon, both of you will feel it even if you don't speak. Eclipses show where the monadic field forces realignment. Follow retrogrades. Retrogrades are review period. Venus retrogrades, watch where it falls by house in both your charts. If it moves through the 7th house, expect karmic reviews in relationships. Mercury retrograde, watch when it crosses yours or his Mercury, because the third energy becomes more active, more surges. But 3D communication might collapse, Saturn Pluto retrogrades, if they cross natal placements in your composite, they will trigger long karmic cycles. Retrograde doesn't just mean chaos, they mean unfinished business resurfaces. The outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, mark the most intense reunion windows. Uranus on the Descendant, sudden contact, shocking appearances. Neptune on Venus or the moon, soul dreams, illusions breaking, longing intensifies. Pluto on Venus, Mars, obsession, desire, karmic endings. These transits are heavy. They don't just stir feelings, they transform your entire timeline. Step 5, overlay the composite chart. The composite chart is your union blueprint. Look at transits to the composite. Sun, moon, and Venus. Watch for eclipses or retrogrades hitting composite angles. Pay special attention to Saturn transit. These bring karmic tests but also long-term grounding. When the composite chart lights up, it means both of you are being pushed even if one resists. The strongest reunion windows come when multiple layers overlap. For example, a Venus retrograde hitting your divine masculine 7th house and your composite Venus, an eclipse on your north node, and Pluto transiting his Venus, a nodal return happening while Saturn sits on your composite moon. So when 2 or 3 of these stack together, expect the unexpected. This is the miracle. This is what I call by astrological clairvoyance. You are literally just looking at these systems, but you're getting guidance from your higher self and cosmic consciousness itself. So here's the crucial piece: nervous system readiness. Mapping the window is not enough. You may also ask, am I ready? If your nervous system collapses every time he withdraws, the reunion window may open, but you won't be able to stabilize it. If you chase when Venus retrograde stirs his feelings, you may collapse the timing. The field needs one anchor. Once anchored, that anchor is our divine feminine's nervous system. So here's the takeaway, all right? Mapping reunion window is not about predicting the day he returns. It's about recognizing when the cosmos is creating pressure points for your union. The nodes show karmic direction, eclipses force resets, retrogrades resurface the past, outer planets transform the bond, and the composite chart reveals the union blueprint. When you overlay these together, you can see the windows when the monadic pull is strongest. And when you know these windows, you don't panic, you prepare, you anchor, you trust the field, because union isn't luck, it's coded. But of course, there are miracles too. And astrology simply shows when the door is open. All right? So with that, I'll complete the first part of this discourse. So the next part, I will talk more about living through a reunion window without collapsing, We will talk about forecasting future windows. We will talk about the psychological layer, handling emotional whiplash in reunion windows. And we will also talk about the spiritual layer, reunion windows as planetary ascension design. And we will talk about integration, working with reunion windows as density instead of, other factors. And finally, the second part, we will wrap it up with everything that we have discussed. So, I would like to do it now, but then I realized the video will be too long. So I rather do the second part another time. All right. So remember, reunion windows are not traps, not tests, not random. They are destiny checkpoints written into your monadic contracts. So every eclipse, every retrograde, every nodal shift is another reminder you're bound by a love that transcends time, fear, and 3D denial. So our job is not to chase the moment, our job is to hold the feel. So that when the door opens wide enough, both you and your DM can finally step through, because union is not about predicting a date. Union is about becoming a frequency, and reunion windows are simply cosmic alarms that ring until you both awaken. So that's the reason why I want you to take a moment. This is a long discourse, but I want you to take a moment to deeply reflect on this. And I also want you to think about the various factors, with regards to the reunion windows in astrology. So this is how you take it all back. All right? You take a moment, you take a deep breath in and realize even astrology, these are just signposts, it's all beyond. When you connect to God directly, when you connect to cosmic cosmic consciousness directly, you get the wisdom. You just know, and that is the claircognizance. So tap onto the claircognizance. All right. So again, thank you so much for staying with me through this teaching. It's a long teaching, but we have only covered half. We've only covered parts 1 to 5. I'm going to do a second part on what I've mentioned. So again, let me know in the comments, what you feel, and how do you look at this all. What's your take on this? And if you're looking for deeper clarity on your personal twin flame path, you can book a session with me. The link is in the description below. I also have advanced monadic twin flame star healings if you're ready to work directly with your field and anchor the third energy even during separation. And I also highly recommend soul realignment. It's a lengthy process. It can take 6 weeks, 10 weeks, and because it's such a long clearing process, I'll meet you twice to thrice during the soul realignment to give you updates on what has been removed. So the soul realignment, the focus is more on removing implants, programs, galactic level, earth level, and in all these levels. So this is like past lives, like full reset. That's why the soul realignment is a full reset. That's why it's called soul realignment, because you're being reset to your original soul blueprint. And often it's a calling. You'll be called to get a soul realignment done. That's what I've experienced with past clients. All right, with that, don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the bell so you don't miss future discourses. And as always, beautiful souls, remember this journey is not about chasing, it's about resonance, it's about alignment and stepping into the divine union field within yourself first. And always remember, astrology is just a signpost, it's just a guide. And even in astrology, interpretation matters, and that's the reason why trusting your own clairvoyance and claircognizance on these, so building your own chart can really be helpful as well. With that, see you all again, and see you all again for part 2 as well, which I'll try to do in the next couple of days. All right, take care and bye bye.